So why did MPI back out from its IPO? Check this video out. Hi everyone, this is Marvin Germo. If you're new to this channel, subscribe, smash that bell so you get updated every time I create new content about the stock market with one goal and one heart to help you reach your dreams of financial freedom. Hey guys, so guess what? I'm back in Manila but I'm flying again tomorrow to CDO. For those who are attending the PNB event, I hope to see you guys there. But for those who want to join me in my Stock Smarts sessions, the next set of sessions will be in Cebu, in Singapore, in Manila, and in Davao. So the links are down below if you want to join me for my events and all of the things that will teach you how you can trade the markets with confidence using technical and fundamental analysis. So back to the narrative of this video. So over the past few hours, we saw movement in MPI stock. We saw a lot of volatility yesterday and we saw it close up today. The biggest trigger of that is basically because MPI is backing out of the IPO. In this video, I will explain it detail by detail and what could be the reason. Is there something happening that we don't know? Is there something that's negative that caused them to stay out of the capital markets, stay out of listing in the PSE? Let's drill with that further. At any point in time, based on this video, at the start, are you thinking is MPI something that you should avoid right now because of this? Or are you wanting to buy it more because it backed out of the IPO? Comment MPI if you will buy MPI based on what's happening. Comment avoid MPI if you will not buy MPI also based on this news item that's happening to the stock. Hey guys, so let's get to the bottom of this. What's really happening? What caused the stock or what caused this movement for MPI's hospital unit not to go into an IPO? Is there something wrong with the deal, or is MPI holding up on something that a lot of people don't know yet? So first things first, there was a lot of volatility yesterday. The stock price massively moved down, but today the stock started to move up as a lot of people already, in most cases, were able to digest what the information is. At the end of the day, please remember this: stocks go down, stocks go up when there's a lot of volatility involved, and not just volatility, when there's a lot of uncertainty or when there's also news that may affect the company over the short, mid, and long term. Now, here's the thing. One of the reasons why MPI's hospital unit was supposed to go into an IPO was primarily because they just wanted to save on taxes that would occur should they go with an IPO. But what a lot of people don't know is basically this: the MPI Hospital Unit IPO was basically, they already had a large buyer, a large private buyer that wanted to buy the company, and the move for IPO was just for them to save on taxes as well. That being said though, let's look at what the chart is saying before I go and continue with all of this. Above and beyond the movement that we saw, please remember this: at the end of the day, MPI is still moving sideways with a resistance of 5.4 and a support at 4.1. As long as we don't see MPI move past that level, you can't really expect MPI to move up. One, I guess, key positive narrative into all of this is that MPI is still holding its ground above the 100 and 200-day moving average, showing us that there's buying somewhere near the 4.6 level for the short, mid, and long term. So one thing that you could watch out for is this: number one, if MPI stays above the 200-day moving average, then it still has a shot, it still has a narrative to push up. Possible move will be 4.6 all the way to 5.4. You can peg 5.4 as the resistance and you can peg 4.6 as a support. But if the 4.6 200-day moving average does not hold, possible downward movement will bring MPI back to around either the 4.3 or the 4 peso level for the short, mid, and long term. That's why the goal, if you are a trader, is to just respect the chart. So why am I saying this? The catalyst for MPI that would have been them going to an IPO is now out of the table. Whatever movement you see will be based on another set of news. However, I really believe that this move still by MPI is still net positive for the conglomerate as well. So let's go on to the details first. However, before I continue, I'd like to make a quick plug for our next set of events For those who'd like to enroll in our technical analysis sessions in Cebu, the date is October 26 and 27. For those who want to learn more about fundamental and technical analysis, we have those sessions both in Singapore and Manila. The links are down below as well. And we have the largest investment conference in the country, ICON 2019 Davao, will be November 30. So if you want to learn more on how I trade the markets, please remember my style is just basically the same all the time. I use technical analysis to time, I use fundamental analysis to select. So that should be your style, so that you do not have to rely on emotion. You do not have to rely on your friends on how you buy and sell the stock, because everything you need to know is found on what the technicals is saying. Everything you need to know is also found on what the fundamentals is saying as well. So I hope to see you in those events. Anyways, one of the reasons that I could possibly think of on why the IPO did not also push through is, you have to remember this: after the Kepwalt IPO, the next set of IPOs brought about by Axilum and All Home. Axilum stock is below the IPO price. All Home is sluggishly trying to stay above its IPO price. Please remember, it does not mean there's something wrong with All Home. It does not mean also that there's something wrong with Axilum. It just basically means that there's a lot of global uncertainty. Please remember, and I've created so many videos about this, that one of the reasons why the market is down, one of the reasons why the market is not higher, it's not because the economy is bad, but please remember that inflation is low. The GDP is still not at the 7% level, but it's still high at the 5+% level as well. Every economic data that we're looking at is much better now than where we were last year. So the fears of what we had in 2018 should be out the door, should be out the window this 2019. And the only narrative that we have, that we could think of on why the IPO, on why the market is not moving higher, is basically because of what's happening in the US and China trade war, which is affecting global sentiment. So I think the possible narrative that they're thinking is this: if there's a lot of uncertainty abroad, if we do an IPO, it might not be the right time, and it may push the stock lower. So that's one of the reasons that I could think of on why the IPO did not push through. But at the end of the day, again, I'll say this over and over: MPI is doing this because they want to shed off some of their debt. MPI is doing this also so that it gives them a better flexibility as a larger conglomerate, so that the cash that they can generate from it, they can use to further double down on their toll roads unit. Please remember this also, that at current price, I really believe MPI is relatively undervalued. That what's interesting about this is that there's so many businesses inside MPI, from Meralco, Manila, to the construction business, to the toll road, and then you have this hospital unit in the mix. It's a totally defensive company. You should not be. They're basically doing this so that they have cash to fund their construction projects, which is basically capital intensive. So from an MPI perspective, I don't think that this is something negative for them. However, I'll explain later on why the IPO could have been better for them if they were able to raise the money that they actually needed for the stock. So just to give you more details on what's happening now because of the IPO not taking place already and proceeding, the hospital unit of MPI will still be able to raise money, but this time it will only be 35.3 billion pesos, and it will be to a private investor, as compared to this is massively slashed lower. No, the price has fallen from 75.1 billion pesos. Sorry about that, guys. 75.1 billion pesos to around 35.3 billion pesos, which this is slashing the price into basically half of what it was supposed to be. So this is what I'm saying. This was what I was saying earlier, that there was a possible if there's any negative side into all of this, it's basically because that MPI will relatively raise a lower amount of money instead of the 75 billion that it would have projected. But then again, 35 billion is still a large amount of money. 35 billion will still be a good amount of money for them to shed the debts that the large company has as well. Please remember, this move is also for them to shed their debts. Now, who's the private company that will buy it? An investment fund, International Investment Fund, KKR, and Singapore Sovereign Wealth Fund, GIC, will fund the investment. So that means they already have buyers. The tax implications lang though will be higher, bigger, and more expensive because it's not anymore a listed company. So what's the details? What's the nitty-gritty of this deal? 30.1 billion pesos will be in exchangeable bonds, meaning debt. MPI, the mother company, will receive 30.1 billion pesos. Again, this is a net positive for them because they would get money for this, which will allow them to lessen their debt. They will get money from this, which will allow them to fund their construction business, which again is very, 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 very capital intensive. Next is the remaining 5 billion would go to both investors, as in terms of 5.2 billion pesos worth of MPPI shares. So it's a bond and share deal as well. However, what I want to also zero in is this. Please do note that part of the deal is that KKR can exchange the bonds for shares within 10 years if the company goes public. So what does that mean? If MPI goes public, the hospital unit goes public, KKR has the ability to sell their shares and swap the bonds into new shares for the company. And in the same way also, if within 10 years MPHI does not go public, KKR has the ability to swap swap those bonds into shares. So the end goal for this funds is basically to have shares in the company. The end goal of this funds is to move not just from debt but to have common shares in the company as well. So just to break down also the proceeds, please remember from the 30 billion, from the 35 billion, only 30 will be received as debt. The 5 billion basically will be used by the company, will be used by MPPI's hospital unit to expand their hospitals to 30 and to increase its beds to 5,000 by 2030. Currently, MPPHI has 3,200 beds across 14 hospitals. So this is a jump for them in the next 11 years for them to be able to move from 14 to 30 and from 3,200 to 5,000. Again, this is a very, 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 very defensive stock as well. So just to make it clear as well, the biggest beneficiary still will be MPI, the holding company, because it allows them to raise money off of this. So based on what I said, what's your battle plan? If you are a long-term investor, does it cost you to actually buy the stock knowing this information? If you are a trader, please respect the charts that I've plotted, either the moving average, the MACD, or the support and resistance, especially that the stock is basically still on a sideways market. Please remember, for those who attended our Stock Smart sessions, you know our battle plan. When the stock is moving sideways, you know our triggers, our buy signals, and our parameters, so that you can make money and you can win even if the market is sideways as well. So did you guys enjoy the video? I hope that it gave you the right insights, the right knowledge, the right information, so you get to decipher if you will buy MPI for the short, mid, and long term as well. So I hope this video helped you, and I hope it gave you the right insights so you can trade the markets with confidence. Please remember though that MPI, regardless of what's happening to the hospital company, regardless of its listing, MPI is still a good company. Its toll roads is good, its Meralco business is good, its Maynila business is good, it's growing well, it's good, and it's growing, and it's highly defensive stock. So I hope this video gave you the right insights to help you trade the markets with confidence. So this is Marvin Germo from BGC. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, guys, and God bless you all.